We are back. We're making a little, this is a, do you want to like stop and start it again? Is that easier if it's smaller or?
No.
Okay.
Is that what she said?
We're back we're trying to come up with things to fill our time with. We're trying to give
Your time more than our time.
Right. We're trying to give you posts on the site that happen about every 2 days. And today we're going to talk about mentalism. Mr. Jeremy Spratt has some questions for me.
Mainly, so you've done a couple shows.
Yeah.
You've always had a stage presence. This is your outlet, your whatever
Excuse.
your excuse to do it. So last year you had, was it 2 shows last year?
Mm-hmm. Two like open to the public shows.
Yes. What do you have? Do you have anything going on this year for it?
I open to the public shows. I have. So I get calls I get calls to do corporate type stuff. I've done the Lionesses for the Durant group. I did a gig for them. I just got a conversation about the Salvation Army is doing something coming up in May. So I'll be doing a deal there.
More private event type stuff.
Yeah. Staff meeting type things and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
As far as this year, what I know of right now is that I believe we're going to aim for late October, because Houdini was both born and died in October.
I was born in October.
Right. But you haven't died yet.
Yeah. Unrelated.
But a friend of mine, a magician friend of mine who was born and raised in Muscatine and has since gone off to Vegas, has moved back to the area, who does shows very, very consistently and has made, doing magic shows. He's a sleight of hand. He's a magician, whereas mentalism is kind of another avenue.
Facade, or not facade.
It's a whatever. So he got a hold of me and said, "Would you like to do a show together?" And I had sent him a video of my last show, just looking for critiques because it was my second show ever.
Yep.
I said, "What do you got? I'll take, good, bad, ugly, whatever." He and I had a good conversation about it, and then not long ago, he got a hold of me saying, "Would you like to do a show together?" And we'll aim for the neighborhood of just before Thanksgiving, and that's the goal of what's coming up.
Very cool. So you love the stage, you love performing. Why mentalism? What guided you towards mentalism over another avenue? Because you also have sang before, you've done plays.
Right.
You're an act. You've done these other things. What drew you towards mentalism?
What I like about mentalism, and I'm going to be ridiculously honest, and it's not going to make any difference. I start my show like this. This is verbatim how my show goes. Good evening, folks. My name is Thad Burkamp. I'm a mentalist. Most of you know I'm Thad. Some of you know what a mentalist is, so we'll handle that first. First and foremost, I have a question for the audience. It is a two-sided question. You can raise your hand. I will not be calling on you, so let's get that tension out of the air. First, who here believes that being able to tell the future is possible? And some people raise their hand. And I say, okay. Then the flip side of that is who believes that telling the future is impossible? Another group of people raise their hand, and I say to you folks, I ask the question, do you have the Weather Channel app on your phone? Because what's the Weather Channel app doing? It is forecasting. That's exactly right. It takes the known series of circumstances, how those things have worked themselves out in the past, and gives you the most probable outcome. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to create the circumstances, use what I know about how your brain works, and give you the most probable outcome. That looks like reading your brain, looks like telling the future. It's not. Those two words go unnoticed. I say it is not. And then I go on further to explain why. I say it is basically a mix of my 5 senses, a little bit of intuition, a little bit of suggestion, a lot of BS, and I put that into a pie that looks like I'm reading your mind, looks like I'm telling the future. I'm not. And at the end of the shows, people come up and say, "How long have you had the gift?" I was like, "No, I told you I don't." It really is a performance.
Yep.
What's different about if you go to a play or if you come to my show, the play people are acting.
Mm-hmm.
My show, if I do it correctly, you don't know that I'm acting.
Yep.
How much more fun is that?
Mm-hmm.
So and it has to be real. It has to be better.
Yeah.
Because they'll forgive crap acting for a good line. Mine has to be both all the time. So people straight up during the show forget that I say it's not what it looks like. It is very akin to a magic show. There are just ways of going about receiving the information from you or forcing you to have the information I want you to have.
Yep.
Without you realizing it. So when I say, if I were to say, think of you got to be honest on this.
Well, thanks. Am I normally not?
No, I just you could try to fudge me up if you want.
That's why you refuse to call on me in your show.
No, there's a different reason for that. Sorry for that malfunction with the video. We're back though. We got it figured out. If you don't mind, I want you to think of two shapes, like a square and a rectangle. Don't use a square and a rectangle because that's what I just said. I don't want you to feel like I'm forcing you. But think of two shapes, put one of them inside the other.
Okay.
Okay? Now, if I'm worth anything, you thought of a triangle and a circle.
Yes.
You did?
Absolutely.
Did it turn into this?
Yes. It did. But I get it. I don't get it.
No.
But I understand the process behind it.
So that's a very simple one. That'll hit like 70% of the time with jackweeds like you, and definitely Flynn. Flynn's thinking of stupid shapes too.
Yep.
Then it doesn't. It's not a home run, but the stuff that I take on stage.
It doesn't have to be every time, because you'll have that one person in the crowd who's going to try and break it every time.
Right.
But if you can do the shotgun effect and hit, again, 75%.
Right.
And even if you hit a different 75% between each
and the
thing you do, you'll hit everybody.
The fun part is, I use a lot of the audience. You came to my last show. I probably had 12 effects that we did, and I used probably 40 people.
Yep.
Because you didn't come to watch me just be on a stage. You came to watch me interact with people and how that works. So if you come to the shows, you're likely to you're likely to at least be part of a group of people, one of which is going to get chosen to work with, and that does a couple of things. One is I don't use any plants or stooges. I mean, I don't tell you, Jeremy, when I call you up, think of blue dragon, and then I will just think of an animal and think of a color. It doesn't have to be an animal that exists. And then I write down blue dragon. He says, "What was your animal?"
Blue dragon.
And I got it. No, I don't use any of that crap. So it's pretty fun. And somebody that really has their eyes open could see some of this stuff. Mm-hmm. If they wanted to, they could see through it. The fun part is that if you were to go home and retell the story, you don't want to look like an idiot.
Yeah.
So you're going to embellish it a little bit, where it's not quite the story that actually happened, and it makes it that much better for you, for your memory, which is all you're doing. If you're buying a ticket, if you're going to the movies, those guys are lying to you too. They're not really an air pilot, airline pilot that had to save the plane. Mm-hmm. They're not really national treasure going to find the whatever. They're not any of that. It's just entertainment.
Yep.
You're not really going to win any money at the casino. It's just you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So if you're throwing your money at it, it's entertainment. That's all it is, and that's really yeah.
Okay, so you've done a few shows. Have you had anything that's gone like catastrophically wrong?
Yes.
And then on top of that, one, you can explain what it was, and two, how did you get through that?
So there was a spot, and it was actually meant, and it was my first show. It was meant to be kind of a tip of the hat to my mom, saying thank you for being so weird and putting up with me being so weird. I wouldn't be here doing this if I was in a different circumstance, maybe.
Yep.
But it was just a thank you for being a good mom situation. So I brought my mom up on stage. Mm-hmm. She and I sat through this very involved process of mixing up a deck of cards together. So I would give her half of the deck, and then she would cut her half, and then shuffle them in upside down to right side up, and then give me half of her messed up deck, and I'd give her half of my messed up deck, and we'd do the same thing. So it was just a series of things that messed the deck up like crazy. Mm-hmm. And then I was supposed to have a guesstimate as to which cards were face up at the end of the whole thing. So we went through the process. I did have my guess. and it was very, very wrong. And it was whatever. I mean, I literally booted my mom off the stage. I just grabbed the cards. We were using great big cards, like big sheet of a piece of paper cards. And I just threw them over my shoulder. Like, nope, that one's... And I sat her back down, and, you know, you just... It doesn't matter. None of it matters.
You play it off to the crowd, and
That's exactly right.
you know, yeah, it doesn't go right every time, but
That's right.
it's how you sell it.
And that is 100% it. The audience will follow you. If you're willing to just head down, get through it,
Yep.
they'll follow you.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you've got the right command. And I kind of naturally, without really thinking about it, do, which works to my favor.
Great. So this is Thad, great friend, hard worker,
Hey.
mentalist. Any parting words on you and your mentalism gig stuff?
I'll put a thought in their heads
Ooh.
by telling you to do the opposite. Don't think of polar bears.
Gotcha.
You're thinking of polar bears. All right.
Bye.